Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is January 14th, 2024. I'm Janet Grote, your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds. We're on YouTube. Hi, YouTubers. To be put on our mail list or to find out more information about us, go to our website, tcuuc.org. Note the email link to request our online newsletter. Did you remember to silence your cell phones? Mm-hmm. Visitors, if you are comfortable, please step up to the microphone and introduce yourself. You will hear you on YouTube, but we won't see you because the camera is not working for seeing the back of the people that are speaking in that microphone.
Good morning. I'm Scott Gledhill. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland, and we're dear friends of John and Judy's, and my wife, Joanne Calderon, is with me, as always.
Wow. Welcome. For announcements, do see the printed order of service and the newsletter for details and more events. Wednesday at 11 via Zoom would be a good time to join our book club as we're starting a new book, fiction this time, The Apology by Jim and Han. See the newsletter for the link or John Morn. Join us this Tuesday at Stuart Veterans Memorial Park downtown for our brown bag lunch. For those of you who are new, see me, I can give you some extra directions. On January 21st, we have a celebration of life of Ann Nozawa after the service. And on Sunday, February 11th, at the 10:30 worship, we will have a very special guest and music leader, composer, guitarist, and singer, Jim Scott. His songs are in our UU hymn books, and you probably know Gather the Spirit. A big thanks for those who helped with the service, Jackie Robbins and Judy Bajoris for the music, Jackie Buckley, our greeter, and I need to use two ushers, let's say Janet and Jerry, and our host Karina Poloni, and our tech support Rachel Valentino, and of course, most importantly, Joanne Leon and Marguerite Gregory for the coffee and goodies in our social hall. Our member, Cindy Sommers, is in the pulpit today. She's been a Unitarian for over 20 years and joined the congregation last year after moving from California. Cindy says, I'm an attorney who practiced corporate law, but found my passion in educating students about mental health. And here is our prelude.
Move it away because it's feeding back. Okay. It's a little too high. So forget the technical, a little acoustic.
Wow. Thank you, Jackie. We'll now do our chalice lighting. We light this chalice, remembering the freedoms long established in our nation. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom from established religion. We light this chalice honoring those who exemplify protecting those freedoms: librarians, booksellers, teachers, authors, journalists. We light this chalice so that by its light may we read all the books with archaic language, the books with offensive material, books which affirm the diversity of the human race, books which normalize our varied sexualities. May we bask in the glow of its light this morning as we illuminate, brighten, and radiate because of the books we have read and the books we have yet to read. Julie Conradi. And this is by my former minister, Molly Hoskirden of Columbia, Missouri. It is about a C.S. Lewis book. Who knows? The book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Can you remember Lucy, how Lucy discovers Narnena? Is that the right pronunciation? Narnena. Lucy looks for the perfect place to hide and opens up the door to a big wardrobe. She goes through the door and into the back of the wardrobe, and suddenly she's in a whole other world, a magical world, with witches and fauns and talking beavers. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a magical world behind every door? When Lucy opened the door, it didn't look like anything special. It was just a boring door to a wardrobe full of clothes and coats, but across its threshold was magic. Lucy already had a foot in Narnia before she quite realized what was happening. Many of the thresholds in our lives are like this. We don't know we're crossing into another world until we're already halfway there. The door of a church opens and takes us down a pathway of growth we might never have expected. The door of the doctor's office suddenly opens into a life with a hard diagnosis. A restaurant door opens on a first date and echoes forward into the relationship of a lifetime. A beloved person's door closes behind you and sends you into the world of the heartbroken. The door to a library, a gym, a dance studio introduces you to a life's passion you might not have known otherwise. We cross these thresholds every day of our lives, for good and for ill, in joy and sorrow, in bittersweet truth. Truly, even our own front door is a great threshold, no matter how familiar the worlds within and without may be. Given our lives' reality of constant change, every day we open the same old door again, only to step into the world that is new since the day before. In this way, there is a new world behind every door, awaiting our discovery, if only we encounter it as such. Now we're going to do our first hymn, number 1024, which is in the teal hymnal. For those of you who like to read the music, the words will be up there also. Cindy chose this one. Oh, yes, do stand.
You can sing better when you're standing.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Now we're going to recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. It's time for our joys and sorrows. Let's share. Please step up to the microphone to speak. Tell us your name first, and we can move a stone in our symbolic river of life to mark each joy and sorrow. Is anyone like to come up and speak? Yes.
I have a sorrow, which is that since the new year started, I've lost 4 musical colleagues, and that's just tough. And I have a joy, which is that I get to play here and play a variety of genres of music, and I really enjoy having that freedom. And the other day I got to play concert of Beatles Reimagined with loud drums and electric guitars and electric keyboards, and I actually plugged in so people could hear me this time. And I had people from this church come and be there at the concert, and that was a great joy for me to see you people there bopping. So thank you.
Morning, I'm Joe. I am in my first show at the Pineapple Playhouse. It opened this weekend, and it was a rousing success. We've been playing to pretty much full houses, and it's a larger theater. It's over 100 seats, and it's always fun to make people laugh. It's a very, very fun show, so very happy about that. It's Pineapple Playhouse in Fort Pierce. It's got 2 more weekends. Yeah. It's called Play On. It's a play within a play. It's a farce. It's slapstick. It's extremely funny. So, yeah, thank you.
Bill.
Good morning, my name's Bill Falk. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the president of the board of directors here, and besides that, I'm a reformed voter and a former resident of Annapolis, Maryland. So welcome you all. Bob's not up here, so he can't really scold me about what I might say about the church, but I have a joy to share. The joy is this, it'll be very brief. After months of not having somebody in the church office during the week on a regular basis, our own Jackie Buckley will be there Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So, you know Jackie, and feel free to call her up and say good morning or something. So anyway, that's my joy.
There's a couple stones there. One definitely for Jackie. David?
David Blizzard. I have an extremely consequential joy to announce. I upgraded my bedroom. I went to the thrift shop and bought a headboard and matching furniture, and my bed will no longer travel from the wall, and my mattress will stay where it needs to be.
Oh, the simple joys of life. Anyone else? For those whose joys or sorrows are too private to share, know that our hearts are with you. And we'll move a stone for you. Now we're going to go to a responsive reading. The Eternal Now, number 649. Cindy selected this responsive reading, and in that it has some relevant words for today's subjects. I'll read the first line, and then all of you, please read the words in italics. 649. Okay. From generation to generation, in a house which becomes a home, one hands down and another takes up the heritage of mind and heart, laughter and tears, musing and deeds. Love, like a carefully built ship, crosses the gulf between generations. Therefore, we do not neglect the ceremonies of our passage when we wed, when we die, and when we are blessed with a child. When we depart, and when we return, when we plant, and when we harvest. Let us bring up our children. It is not the place of some official to hand to them their heritage. Let us build memories in our children, lest they drag out joyless lives, lest they allow treasures to be lost because they have not been given the keys. Anton de Saint-Exupéry. Please forgive my French. Now it is time for our Spirit of Life. We're going to hum one time through, and then we'll sing it. Time for the offering. Yes, the Raiders. Thank you. The offering will now be received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. We thank you for all your contributions, especially the money. We'll keep Ronnie happy. Now, here is Cindy Sommers.
Not already. Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Yeah. My name is Cindy Sommers. I know it's hard to hear me through my mask, but please bear with me. It's doctor's orders. It makes it a little difficult to breathe, so bear with me. But I think it also makes me look like a parrot from the side. Doesn't it? Oops, sorry. Also fogs up my glasses. A couple of months ago, I attended a Martin County School Board meeting. Standing at the podium was a scarlet-faced woman from Moms for Liberty, violently waving a book in the air. This book contains bestiality, pornography, eroticism, and sadomasochism. This book will prematurely sexualize students and morally corrupt our young. She read some passages from the high school level book, passages taken out of context, which were clearly not pornographic, but not appropriate for young children. Sitting next to me was a mother and her 7-year-old son who had just heard the passages she read. First of all, no one wants pornography in our schools, but not one of the 98 books banned from Martin County schools, not one contained bestiality, pornography, eroticism, it's the mask, sadomasochism, and the school board knows this. Most books were banned under a provision that states a book will be banned if an adult would feel uncomfortable reading passages of it out loud. So, book bans. What is happening? How is it happening? Why is it happening? And where do we go from here? What is happening? Books are being banned in classrooms across the country. A coordinated campaign of extreme right politicians, Christian nationalists, and other far-right extremist groups are endeavoring to take ideological control of our public schools by selectively targeting and banning books with race, racism, sexual orientation, and LGBTQ+ themes and content. They are seeking to impose their own morals, beliefs, and values on others. A student's exposure to different ideas and narratives is being stymied. They are being taught revisionist history. Critically, students are being denied the opportunity to understand and accept that there are people different than they are, people of different religions, races, cultures, ethnicities, and gender identities, and that these are differences nothing to be afraid of, but differences that should be embraced. According to PEN America, a nonprofit whose goal is to protect free expression, there were 3,362 instances of book banning in the United States during the 2022 to 2023 school year. This is a 33% increase from the prior year. 37% of the banned books had characters of different color or themes of race and racism. 36% had LGBTQ+ characters or themes. Florida has the highest number of books banned in the United States. Over 40% of all books banned have occurred in Florida. Of all the Florida school districts, Martin County has the second highest number of books banned, 98. The books that are being banned often deal with challenging, difficult, and problematic topics, themes, and issues. They are the very books students should be exposed to, not denied access to. Books about race, racism, gender identity broaden a student's understanding of the world and the people in it. It is essential for students who are LGBTQ+, or of a different religion, race, culture, ethnicity, or gender identity, to read books about people who are like them. Too many pages here. I don't want to get this on fire. Stories they can relate to, stories that support and encourage their growth, development, and well-being. Often books are considered obscene or pornographic simply because they contain LGBTQ+ themes. How is this happening? Legislation. It is happening because of three pivotal bills that Ron DeSantis signed into law. The first is HB 1557, which passed in March of 2022. It is called the Parental Right in Education Bill. It is also called the Don't Say Gay Law. This law reinforces a parent's fundamental right to make decisions regarding the care and upbringing of his or her own child in the public school setting. It prohibits instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in pre-kindergarten through the 3rd grade. HB 1069, the second of these laws, extends that prohibition up to 8th grade, but with the restrictions in the law, it essentially means up to 12th grade. HB 1069, which became law on July 1st, 2023, restates the requirement that all school districts adopt a book objection process. It cites Florida statutes that define pornography and sexually explicit material. The third law is HB 7, effective July 1st, 2022, which prohibits teaching materials that could make students feel they bear the personal responsibility for historical wrongs because of their race, color, sex, or national origin. And this is why we have revisionist history. Pursuant to HB 1069, Martin County School Board adopted its own book objection process. In Martin County, 110 objections were filed in the 2022 to 2023 school year, resulting in the banning of 98 books. One woman from Moms for Liberty was responsible for 97 of them. When a book is banned, all students are denied access to it. This violates the rights of other parents to determine for themselves what their child can read. There is currently no appeal process available for parents or county residents who want the banned books returned to classroom and library shelves. Since Florida law now requires all school districts to post the titles of all books banned in their districts, it is no longer necessary for a parent to file an objection. All a parent needs to do is find a book on the list that has been banned in another school district and request it be banned in yours. It will be banned. In Florida, it is a third-degree felony if teachers, librarians, and other educators violate, even if unintentionally, any provision of the newly passed, overbroad, and vaguely worded book banning laws. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not. A third-degree felony is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, a $5,000 fine, and 5 years of probation. The warning is to err on the side of caution. Teachers are preemptively removing books yet to be reviewed for fear of being fired, losing their teacher's license, or being charged with a third-degree felony. Why is this happening? It is happening in part because far-right extremist groups like Moms for Liberty want a return to traditional family values. Under the guise of concerned parental rights advocates, their goal is to ban all books with race, racism, gender identity, and LGBTQ+ content, and to marginalize, through book banning, people of different religions, races, cultures, ethnicities, and gender identities. Moms for Liberty advocacy prompted the Escambia County School Board and schools to pull from their shelves 5 different dictionaries and 8 encyclopedias for fear of sexual content. Moms for Liberty is an organization with deep ties to the Republican Party. Both Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis spoke at their 2023 National Summit. Moms for Liberty is said to be funded by the Republican Party, far-right extremists, and ultra-conservative organizations like the Heritage Foundation. I believe Moms for Liberty is an integral part of the surging Christian nationalist political movement whose goal is to elect and re-elect right-wing politicians. Moms for Liberty use their anti-woke agenda to draw in unwitting young women voters, particularly mothers of school-aged children, a demographic that has been leaving the Republican Party. They do this by scaring them, by falsely claiming that the books their children are reading in school contain bestiality, pornography, eroticism, and sadomasochism. The use of the word mom in Moms for Liberty is intentional and strategic. Who wouldn't trust a mom? Aren't moms trustworthy, protective, accountable, and honest? So, where do we go from here? There is hope. More than 65% of Americans oppose book bans, and a resistance is growing. Students across the country are taking a stand against book bans. They are speaking out at school board meetings and forming their own anti-banning organizations. In June 2023, President Biden announced he would appoint a new federal coordinator to address the number of book bans being implemented across the country, stating, LGBTQ Americans, especially children, you're loved, you're heard, and the administration has your back. Book banning organizations have formed across the country at local, state, and national levels. With $3.6 million from author-donated funds, PEN America is opening a Florida office to specifically address Florida's pervasive banning issues and problems. On May 17th, PEN America and others sued the Escambia School District and School Board, challenging the constitutionality of book banning under the First and 14th Amendments. In this lawsuit, the state of Florida is arguing that book bans are protected government speech, stating, quote, "The purpose of public school libraries is to convey the government's message, and that can be accomplished through the removal of all speech that the government disapproves." If PEN America were to prevail, Florida's book banning would eventually come to an end. Under the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, federal laws take priority over conflicting state laws. I close by saying I'm optimistic things will change. The book banning resistance is continuing to grow. Anti-banning lawsuits are being filed in courtrooms across the country, and I have a great deal of faith in our legal system and believe that eventually book banning will be found to be unconstitutional. That's it.
And now we'll sing another song. Please stand if you're comfortable for hymn number 320. The pen is greater. I think we can get through all 5 verses. I selected this song. Sorry if we have trouble singing it. I got it mixed up with a Van Morrison song of a similar subject. We made it. You may be seated. Of course, we're going to have coffee hour and goodies, but we're going to extinguish our chalice now. Now, upon leaving one another, may we give our hand and heart. Let us share our benediction lovingly before we part. Postlude.
I just want to mention that the first piece I played was Old Man River, and I wanted to dedicate that to Paul Robeson, who's a Great American Treasure, a man of Afro-American descent, and run out of this country because freedoms were worse than they are now. This next, and of course, Amazing Grace was for Martin Luther King Jr., the Reverend Doctor. Rachel, would you mind bringing the whole volume down, because there's a little bit of a low-end hum, around 110 decibels. And this last piece, I'm playing for for Martin Luther King, and it is the prelude to the second suite for solo cello by Bach. And I was very much moved when I was a 13-year-old or 14-year-old, and we lost him. We lost a lot of great people in the early 60s, and it affected my life. So here's my answer, or my statement. Now go and be happy. Celebrate it.